When I moved over here from Australia, I wanted to own a big dually truck and a highbrow cat, you know, and that's so once time went on and my wife and I were able to buy a little mare back in, I think, 2007, and she was the first one I had. I showed her in the non-pro, and she was the first one to really enlighten me as to what everybody had said about them, you know, their trainability. She was just different, you know. She wasn't herself, she wasn't a superstar, but it opened my eyes and the window for me on what these horses can do and what that cat gene is all about. You know, you can research it. The horse has produced over $70 million. You can go back and look at final after final, and if it's not direct sons or daughters, it's grandson or granddaughter. It speaks for itself. To me, you know, I see it all the time. I see a horse pop up that's by a second or third tier stallion that you're like, wow, what a really nice horse. And then you look one step further and it's out of a cat daughter. So, you know, to me, if it doesn't have cat somewhere on those papers, you need to play a different game.
You know, a lot of non-pros and amateurs, I mean, they're business people and they don't get an opportunity to practice as much as, you know, they like to. And so I always try to somewhat kind of overmount my customers and have them a little more horsepower if they're not able to practice as much. And so, yeah, you sure want to go with something like a highbrow cat that, you know, is a lot more willing, and that's going to take care of somebody that doesn't get a chance to practice a whole lot. I think if you ask any trainer out there what they want to start with, if you line up some horses by different studs and there's a cat in there, there's a pretty good chance they're going to pick the cat. You know, I mean, just like I said, just from watching trainers from Missouri, Canada, California, and a lot of guys you don't see very much, and they show up on a highbrow cat and it looks really well. I mean, that's when I started really realizing about 10 years ago that, man, like anybody gets along with them, you know? So it's something that I think if you really want to aim for the futurity, yeah, you need to go with the highbrow cat.
Well, you can breed many types of mares to them. I think that's been proven. But, you know, just for me, they have a lot of value, the highbrow cats do. So you want to breed a mare that she has a lot of shape herself. So the colt, when it's younger, it looks good and has a performance aspect as well. So whether you want to sell it or ride it, you really can't go wrong either way. He is the benchmark in our industry. So it's kind of like the old saying, you know, he's the king, he's the top of the hill. So until somebody knocks him off, he's still the king, in my opinion.
The first highbrow cat that I got was named Cat Baloo, and he ended up going on and doing really well it's actually the first horse I ever made the fraternity finals on. What I learned was that horse, I was really young and maybe didn't have as much experience in the show pen, and that horse took care of me. Like he covered up a lot of my mistakes that I was making. He made me look really good, and I always tell my customers I want a horse that's better than me, and because at the end of the day they have to do it, and that is one example where I felt like that horse taught me a lot. He's the horse, you know, he's the Michael Jordan of basketball, he's the, however you want to say it, he's just, you know, he's here and then everybody's trying to get there. So that's I mean, he is the horse, he set the bar. I've had my clients breed the highbrow cat just because, in my opinion, it's a lot less risk than buying a horse that is kind of a no-name stud or not proven, because I don't know what the actual numbers are, but I'm going to say if you give me 10 highbrow cats, 9 out of 10 of them are going to train and be good horses. That's pretty hard to argue with those numbers. I know, you know, he has one of the higher breeding fees in our industry, but if you look at the big numbers, the long-term, what you have in that horse by the end of its 3-year-old year, I think it's cheap. I think consistency is magic in business, and if you can consistently, you know, obviously sire the way he's doing it, I think we go back to the risk thing. I think it takes a lot of the risk out of it, and you can't argue with success. And no other horse has done what he's done, and I don't know if we'll see another one in our industry do what he's done. But to me, if you don't try one, you're leaving money on the table.